The average American today spends nearly half their waking hours in the digital space. What if you could use just 30 seconds of that time to keep a spiritual connection alive week after week? In this episode, I want to talk about relational pings and give you 3 digital evangelism innovations that have huge potential for your ministry. Hi, I'm Larry Witzel, and this is Ministry Insights from SermonView. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. I do hope that you'll find this content educational, inspiring, and affirming to your ministry. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and share it with a colleague. Today, I want to talk about 3 digital evangelism innovations that have huge potential for your ministry. All 3 build on the idea of relational pings, which are the micro touch points that keep you present in someone's life without demanding a big block of their time. In our hyper-connected world, attention is both more scattered and therefore more valuable than ever. A recent study found that the average American's focused attention on a single task has dropped from 2.5 minutes 20 years ago to just 47 seconds today, a 69% decline. Mobile users decide whether to engage with content in an average of 1.7 seconds. And overall, our attention span is now estimated at about 8 seconds, shorter than a goldfish's. On the one hand, that sounds discouraging. That's a really tough ministry environment to operate in. But I want to argue that it's also an incredible opportunity. In this culture, one of the most effective ways to maintain connection is through what I call relational pings. In computer networks, pinging a server or router sends a quick signal that tells the other device, "Hey, I'm still here, are you?" A relational ping works the same way. These are frequent, short connections that keep you present in someone's life without demanding a big block of their time. Communication scholars call this social presence, the sense that another person is there with you even when you're physically apart. Research shows that even a short message, emoji, or quick acknowledgement can significantly increase that feeling of presence. That's what relational pings do. They enhance your perceived presence in someone's life. They're brief, regular touch points that quietly maintain a loose relational connection until the moment is right for something deeper. Now, of course, relational pings are not a replacement for deep, soul-level human connection. Think about times when you've had a deep conversation with a friend, hours going by without even noticing. Or think about a game night with laughter and joy as you connect over a board game. Those moments are sacred, irreplaceable, and essential. Relational pings are not a replacement for this deep in-person connection, but they are the on-ramp to those conversations. They're the small, steady signals that say, "I'm here," so when the opportunity comes for a longer heart-to-heart encounter, the bridge is already in place. So I want to share 3 specific ways that I'm seeing this idea of relational pings applied in ministry. The first is regular short-form video content on social media. I've talked a lot about parasocial relationships, the illusion of a relationship that someone feels with someone in the media. It's a one-sided social connection that leads to an emotional response very similar to in-person social interactions. Parasocial connection develops when someone regularly sees your face, hears your voice, feels like they know you personally. Consistency is key here. The parasocial bond grows when you show up regularly in someone's social feed, week after week, month after month. I was just at an event a couple of weeks ago, and a guy came up to me. We'd been talking about stuff, but he came up to me. He's like, "Did you used to have long hair?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I feel like I know you because I've seen so many of your videos." This is what parasocial connection does. You're not just sharing information, you're building familiarity and trust. Dr. Hiram Ruster is a pastor in Missouri who regularly posts these short-form videos, and he once told me about walking into a smoothie shop and the 18-year-old worker behind the counter just lit up. "Hey, are you that YouTube Bible guy?" Hiram had never met him before, but because of the young man's repeated exposure to these short videos, it opened the door to a deeper spiritual conversation right out of the gate. That's the power of a parasocial connection. Short-form videos are relational pings. Each one is a brief, regular touch point that strengthens the bond until an in-person encounter becomes possible. Consistency is key, showing up week after week in someone's social media feed until you get an opportunity to turn that one-sided connection into a two-way relationship. Another type of relational ping is a weekly text message to people in your circle of influence. It might be a verse, a prayer, or a single question to think about. Just one sentence that lands on someone's phone at the right moment every week. You want it to be something valuable, something that can be a quick spiritual moment. When they see that another message is coming from you, you want them to be eager to read it because of the positive impact it has on their faith. Over time, these weekly relational pings create a steady rhythm of connection, even when you can't be there in person. There are other ways to use text messages for relational pings. For example, a couple of years ago, I met one older woman in a church who grew their young adult ministry simply by texting every young adult in the church every Sabbath morning. She would send a spiritual message at 8 a.m. and end it with, will we see you at church today? It was a quick relational ping reminding each young adult that they're valued and that there's a place for them at her church. A third way to use relational pings is through what we call guest nurturing. A big part of what SermonView does is managing marketing campaigns for evangelistic events with things like direct mail, banners and road signs, social media advertising, YouTube videos. One of the problems we've seen is that Facebook and Instagram ads lead to a high number of pre-registrations for an evangelistic event, but convert at a very low attendance rate. So one way that we're solving this dilemma is by using relational pings with guests after they sign up for an event. It's really quick and easy to register through Facebook or Instagram, just a few seconds. And then a lot of people forget that they even did it. Of course, we send an email and a text right away if they request text reminders, plus a reminder a couple days before the opening night. But we wanted to do more to foster a connection with guests before they ever show up. So with this guest nurturing program, we send 2 short, personalized emails every week from the moment someone registers until the event ends. These aren't just reminders or notifications. They're actual spiritual messages tied to a Bible passage or a concept that'll be covered during the event. The idea is to foster a parasocial connection and build anticipation before the first night even begins. This guest nurturing program has been so effective that some evangelists we work with won't do a campaign anymore without it. I've personally seen guests drop off after opening night, only to return later in the series because a short, encouraging email or text with a spiritual message reminded them that they were welcome. These micro touch points keep the relationship alive and the invitation open, increasing the chance that a guest will attend not just once, but stay engaged for the whole journey. Relational pings are powerful, especially in the digital world. The average American adult spends nearly half their waking hours in the digital space. When Jesus said to go into all the world, I believe he meant the digital world too. Using digital communication technology, we can use this idea of relational pings to build connection that turns into in-person experiences. In evangelism, it's not the length of the message, but the consistency of the connection that often makes the greatest impact. 100 short, well-timed relational pings throughout the year can accomplish more than one long sermon that's quickly forgotten. And in God's hands, even a 2-sentence message can keep a door open until a heart is ready for deeper conversation. So I encourage you to look for ways to use relational pings in your own ministry. SermonView recently celebrated 20 years of ministry. And in the last episode of Ministry Insights, I shared 5 things that I learned over those 20 years. If you'd like to learn more about the importance of perseverance, pivots, and trusting God through the process, check out the last episode of Ministry Insights from SermonView. Pastor, I see you and the work that you do. God brought you to this church at this moment in history because he wants to use your gifts, talents, and experience to grow the kingdom right there in that community. God brought you there for a reason. So stay faithful, lean in, keep showing up. God has huge dreams for your church, and what he started, he will finish. I can hardly wait to see what God is going to do through you to make his dream a reality for your church. I love you guys. I'm cheering for you. We'll see you next time.